Ladies and gentlemen, good day, and welcome to the Q4 FY13 earnings conference call of Escorts Limited. As a reminder, for the duration of this conference, all participants' line will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions at the end of today's presentation. Should you need any assistance during this conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star followed by 0 on your touch-tone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Raghavendra Jaipuria of Perfect Relations. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Shaima. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Escorts Q4 FY13 results conference call. Today we have with us Escorts Limited senior management represented by Mr. Sridhar, CEO Agri Machinery, Mr. Murthy, CEO Construction Equipment, Mr. Dipankar Ghosh, Business Head Railway Products, Mr. Lalit Pawar, CEO Auto Products, Ms. Jyoti Khatuka, Head Treasury, Mr. Bharat Madan, CFO Agri Machinery, Mr. Saikat Mukhopadhyay, CFO Construction Equipment, and Mr. Rajiv Das, VP Corporate Affairs and Communications. We will start the call with a brief opening remarks from the management followed by an interactive Q&A session. Before we start, I would like to add that some of the statements that we make will be forward-looking in nature. At this moment, I would now request Mr. Das to make his opening remarks. Thank you, and over to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for joining us on Escorts Limited fourth quarter earnings con call. We welcome you all. Before we start, I would like to mention that Escorts Limited, the Board of Directors of Escorts Limited, in its meeting on October the 2nd, has decided to extend the financial year by 6 months up to March 31st, 2014, consequently pushing the AGM meet by 6 months too. In the same meeting, the board declared an interim dividend of rupees 1.20 per equity share. I now go into the details of the comments of this fourth quarter. Our continued focus on profitability and operational discipline has led to a strong 12-month closing. Tractor volumes have increased by 9.2% to 66,230. Construction equipment volumes stand at 3,375. Our operating income increased to 4,149 crores, whereas our EBITDA percentage increased 170 basis points to 6.4%. Group PBT more than doubled to 183 crores and PAT increased by around 1.5 times to 167.6 crores. Our EPS stands at 14.05 as against 5.84 for the same period last year. Our performance quarter-on-quarter basis has also been morale boosting and consistent. Tractor volumes increased by 14.6% to 14,842. Construction equipment volumes stood at 661 numbers. Our operating income rose 14%, whereas our EBITDA increased 38% and now stands at 6.8% as we exit the quarter. Group PBT more than doubled to 48 crores and PAT increased by a similar multiple as that of the 12 months ended to 43.6 crores. Ladies and gentlemen, I now start with our Agri Machinery division. Agriculture has been the only green offshoot in an otherwise faltering economy in the country, and a clear shift is seen towards farm mechanization, which means that we are looking at exciting times and consistent times ahead. In the past 12 months, clear signs of revival have been visible, and we did well to capture not only a higher share of the customer mind space, but also higher volume growth as compared to industry without compromising on margins. We ended our Q4 with 14,842 tractors, which is 15% growth as compared to corresponding quarter. With improved product mix and volume increase, the EBIT for the quarter increased to 82.4 crore and margins expanded by 180 basis points. This quarter, the Agri Machinery division made inroads in the Cambodian market with the launch of its premium tractor range, Farmtrac, the distribution for which will be done by Tata International. Tractors will range from 25 HP to 110 HP and will also offer four-wheel drive. These models are best suited for the paddy, sugarcane, palm and rubber plantations in that country. In yet another development, we are delighted to share that we are launching our FarmTrack Europe Series and FarmTrack Heritage Series at Hanover Agritechnica Fair on the 11th November 2013. These are two models, the FarmTrack Europe Series and the FarmTrack Heritage Series, which are directed at the European market primarily and will also follow through to the other world markets in the months ahead. Despite focus being on improving profitability and having a strong hold in the premium segment, it's heartening to see that our market share on a 12-month basis is pretty much unchanged at 10.2%. Coming to the construction equipment division, the headwinds remain strong. Delays in clearance and uncertainty in implementation only means that it will take some more time before the industry starts showing signs of revival. The revenues during the quarter saw a growth of 6.3% versus last quarter, and the losses at the EBIT level were contained to rupees 4.8 crores. We sold 661 units in this quarter versus 718 units in the third quarter. We will continue to shift towards a better product mix and leaner manufacturing and sales setup to overcome these tough times. Moving on to our railway division, the order inflow from railway continues to remain subdued. Finalization in terms of new orders or tenders has been slow and inconclusive. The order book of rupees 51 crore at the end of June was successfully executed this quarter. Income for the quarter increased to 50.5 crores, an increase of 30.2% on a year-on-year basis. EBIT for the same period was rupees 4.3 crore and margins at 8.6%. Order book for this division as of 30th September stood at 34 crores, which will get executed in the next 2 to 3 months. Coming to the auto products division, the automobile sector continues to be under pressure and the slowdown in the economy has severely impacted sales to OEMs. This, along with higher interest rates and lower discretionary spending, are not helping the cause either. Escorts Limited continues to face challenges in the current environment. The fourth quarter saw income from this division increase by 3.3% to 31.4 crore versus the same period last year, and a loss of 5.2 crore at the EBIT level. The 12-month period saw revenues increase to 150.6 crore, an increase of 5.2%, and at the EBIT level, division incurred a loss of rupees 13.1 crore. I will now open up the floor and will request the moderators to get the question and interactive session started.
Thank you very much, sir. Participants, we will now begin with the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. We have the first question from the line of Jay Kale from IDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello, so this is Pramod Kumar from IDFC.
Yes, welcome Pramod. Go ahead.
Yeah, congratulations, sir. I think a good set of numbers considering the the volume slippage on a sequential basis. Just want to understand any particular reason why our capital employed on the agri side has gone up. Is it got to do with the inventory of finished tractors which has got built up at the plant level, or is there something more to that, sir?
No, Pramod, this was essentially the inventory build-up because the season starting from October. So all the Navratras and festive season is in this month. So a lot of delivery retail has to happen in this month. And since in view of the production constant, we can't do that much production in October. So we have to maintain that inventory by September end, which is why you're seeing. But this depletion will happen in this month.
So ideally it should normalize, right?
It will get normalized in this month.
And how do you see now that I believe we are shifting to the normal fiscal, right, which will be ending with March, am I right?
This was in line with the new Companies Act because there's a requirement for any company to shift to April to March financial year. So we thought this is a good opportunity for us to do that now.
Excellent, sir. In that case, so I can just want it because there has been a historical mismatch between how the other companies have been talking about the market and the market share and us. So now that we are going to shift to March, what is your reading, sir? So how do you see the growth for the industry for FY14 ending March, and similarly for the year next, as in generally what's your growth outlook for the industry going forward?
See, very quickly, in the last 2 years, I think the industry growth was almost flat. I think the last big quarter was the June, September 11. That's when we have faced something like a 25% kind of a growth rate. And the recent ones are revival. So that's almost markets are reviving. And given that monsoon and the outlook what we see, the revival should happen. The quantity of revival is not very sure because now I think the monsoon god was much more graceful than what we expected. So there may be some seasonal delays. Having said that, something like 14% kind of a growth rate in this quarter and going down to something like a 8 to 10% growth rate for the second half is a realistic expectation we would like to build on.
And for next year, sir, given the base build-up which will happen in FY14 and the early election in the first quarter, how do you see FY16 as for the industry generally?
See, the long-term outlook, what we take is something like 8% is the CAGR growth rate we look forward to. All our planning is based on that. The way things are happening, if government policies don't go against us, it should be upward of 8%.
Okay.
It will not be below 8%.
And this is, you're talking about the entire cycle, including the downturn years?
Of course, I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah. And, sir, this one, market share for this quarter, if you can throw some light, and how it has moved on a sequential and a YY basis?
See, I think the last 6 months, the market share was something like a 10.8%, and the overall year is something like 11.1, which is almost like a 0.4, 0.5% below last year. Whereas in the last 6 months, it was something like a 10.8. The major reasons are the market, the growing market, phenomenal growth. What is happening now is happening in South and West. Something like Maharashtra, Gujarat, Andhra, Karnataka. These are all the markets are growing of the order of 40 to 50%. So, where our market share is generally less. We are of the order of 4 to 4.5% times. So, this is what is the habit. So, we will respond actually.
And in a way, is the strategy of not chasing market share at the expense of brand and profits is still on? As in, because you talked about it in the last call as a pretty good long-term strategy for you guys.
But
will that be partly the reason for the loss of market share, especially in the September quarter, I would say?
You are correct. See, we have the priorities are clear. First is profit, but nobody is preventing us from growth also next, no? So not compromising the profit target. The way we have spoken 15% end of 3 years. I think we are into the second year. That goal is very much there. So we will achieve those kind of targets, but we have to also look beyond that. So I don't want to disclose much more, but the way you said is without compromising the profitability targets, we will also get prepared for a growth plan.
And sir, export, what is the current share and what is the outlook going forward? Because that's one where I think the pricing competition may not be that significant, and you can really differentiate with your performance and the power range what you have.
Yeah, I think you are right, but unfortunately, in the export, the exports the way we see it is two different hubs. Europe-centric exports, because that is where we have our Poland operations. Another is an India-centric exports. The India-centric exports, so far we have not done a good job. The numbers are very, very less. It's like 50, 60, 70 per month of the order. Even 3,000 numbers. But having said that, we are only strategizing now, identifying markets, priorities, products. Studies are going on. Possibly it will take 1 more year to come with a substantial number for an India-centric market. But where we are ready is the Europe-centric strategies, Poland-centric strategies, where we will be unveiling our product positioning and the global strategy in Germany on 11th of November. So maybe post that unveiling, we will be in a position to share with you a much greater detail of how our outlook of the world seen through European eyes.
But what is the current export as a percentage of your volume, sir?
Very less. What is that?
Very, very insignificant if you're talking of,
Take, for example, 600, 700 numbers out of 65,000 numbers.
Okay, that's very low, because then that compares very poorly with the peers in the industry, because quite a lot of these companies, smaller companies, are actually thriving on the export model in a big way.
Yeah, of course, we are late starters. We will work on that.
Good, sir. Good to learn that. And sir, lastly on auto ancillary, I don't know who will take that question, but is there a thought of actually divesting that business? Because it's been consistently, we've been making losses, and it's in the current environment, it's not a great space to be in, as in without much specialization or a scale advantage. So is there a thought process that you could eventually, somewhere down the line, divest this business altogether?
There are plans that we are working on, and we are also looking for partners. So, we'll take a call when an appropriate partner shows up, or, we have we have a good, good opportunity. Because the macro, situation of the automotive markets is quite positive. We are looking at possibilities of strategic partners to help us get there.
On the auto products, the 12-month performance was severely affected by the last 2 quarters, where the downturn in the domestic demand from the OEM, affected us quite badly. So whereas we were earlier talking about containing the entire red ink to a bare minimum level, that has got a little inflated by the last 2 quarters, which actually impacted us. The management is completely seized of this situation. We are actively looking for a strategic partnership in taking on a go-forward basis. As we speak, the mandate is out, and we are actively in the decision in the finding a strategic route on this matter as we speak. And I think we'll have something to share with you by the time we have the next con call.
And sir, finally on your debt position, as in what is your current gross debt position and the cash position, sir?
The gross debt is 248 crores of term debt, and working capital outstanding is 170 odd crores, and cash and bank balance excluding escrow is 180 crores.
180 crores. Thanks a lot, sir, and best of luck for the future.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take the next question from the line of Mahantesh Sabrat from Fortune Equities. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much for taking my questions. Actually, I wanted to understand, number one, your tax rate for the quarter has sharply fallen down to 9.7%. What are the reasons for that? That is number one. And when I look at and plot the other expenses and employee costs on a sequential basis, there is a small fall as well. What are the reasons for that?
So one on the tax part, I'll just address that. See, in the March result when we declare, the return for tax gets filed by this time, by September, October. So a lot of actualization happen on the expenses for which we get deduction, including 40 CB deduction, which is on payment basis, where the payments up to September are taken into account for getting the tax rebate. So this time we got about 6.5 crores rebate on account of this 40 CB deduction which happened.
What is that? Can you just clarify?
So this is the payment. See, the 40 CB is the statutory payment which you do. So that is allowed on payment basis. So by the time you file your return, so any payment which you do for those statutory dues which are outstanding as of March, by the time of filing a return, you get a deduction. So this time, post the last quarter results, where we estimated the tax rate will be about 20%. Now we got a rebate of about 6.5% for the payment base subsequent to June quarter. So which is the benefit we have seen in this quarter. But going forward, the rates will remain in the range of 15 to 20% for us in the next 2 quarters at least.
Any accumulated losses that you have been able to give? Because your tax rate is obviously far below the marginal tax rate. So
there are two reasons. One, the R&D expenses where we get a weighted deduction of 200%.
Yeah, but that could be very small for you.
It's about 45 odd crores every year.
No, I mean in terms of saving potential on the tax front.
Yeah, so there are no accumulated losses. Obviously, on that front, we don't have much potential. So except on the R&D side and whatever accumulated liabilities which we had, which we are paying and cleaning up now, so of that we're getting this deduction on payment basis. So these two are the only options right now.
But then it's virtually half of your guidance is virtually half of the marginal tax rate. So I'm just wondering, is there a substantial difference between income tax profits and book profits that you're reporting?
The third happens because of the capex which has happened in the last 2 years. So on that, the accelerated depreciation available and income tax is what is also helping us now.
And when will that unwind? Because it's already...
It will unwind maybe after 2.5 years, 2 to 3 years later. So then the position will reverse.
Fine. That's what I understand. And then other question I had was related to the construction equipment division. I noted that you sold about 661 numbers of construction equipment machines this quarter. This is lower than the preceding quarter of 718, if I'm right, and much lower than last year's 888 number. Yet, when I look at your turnover, there seems to be the turnover is higher. compared to the lower numbers. Can you explain is there a substantial mix change here?
Yes, there is a substantial product mix change which has brought in this benefit to us in terms of the top line, though the equipment numbers have come down.
And what set of equipment or machines are selling more, and what set?
When we talk about the most of the contribution has come from slew crane sales. We introduced new slew cranes from 20 tons to 40 tons, and we have been successful in promoting this product. That product mix has brought in some advantages, and in addition to that, we also have it has a substantial impact of our price increase position which we have taken, and that is adding up to that. We are getting that advantage of it now. Price increase has been also a portion of this increase in the revenues.
What's the roadmap to make it EBIT positive?
The EBIT positive, we expect this from this quarter onwards. We are very confident that we'll make it EBIT positive.
And what kind of volumes are you likely to do in the year ahead? You sold about 3,300 machines, 370.
Yes. This is basically, I would address it in this way. We have not lost the market share in any of the products that we sell. In fact, we have substantially, in some places, we have increased our market shares substantially. At the same time, the market is driven by the political situation outside, and I expect the next 2 quarters to be not worse than this. It will be in the same phase. And then, we are keenly watching as to what is going to unfold by March. So if you want me to make a comment on next 2 quarters, I would say we are expecting the market to be same situation, and the volumes of our business will be in the same levels.
But then profitability, you are suggesting it will be far better because of price increase.
Yes. No, it is not only the price increase and the product mix, and of course we have taken substantial actions on the cost, optimizing the cost, which is going to take an impact in this quarter.
Fine. I had another question on these new tractors that you're launching in the European market. Any volume guidance you would like to offer on the exports front, and hence any margin guidance here, because generally it is assumed that your export margins to Europe should be better than what they are in India. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay. See, as far as the exports are, the way I have already explained, the Europe-centric or Poland-centric operations already account for something like 650 to 700 machines. They are basically higher horsepower tractors. The product what we are launching is targeted towards creation of a new category. If I am to give you a good idea, the approach what we are taking is an approach what Japanese have taken for an American market 30 years back. When everybody was selling huge fuel guzzlers, they brought in a very nimble, fuel-efficient, cute, compact machines. We almost approach the same subject for Europe. Obviously, this will be a money spinner. The quantity estimates and all those kind of things are too early. This is where I said exports were little early. But what we are unveiling is products, strategies, shortlisting partners, distribution partners of our Europe. This is what we are trying to organize for the next 1 year. The results to come is clearly 1 year away. And if that succeeds, this will be a repetition for many, many markets, including USA and other major tractor markets. So we are very hopeful. On the long term, it should be a high positive, the way we are talking about the Indian story from something like 4.5-5% EBIT into a 15% story. The similar one you will hear about the export strategy as well. But for the current year volume guidance, I think we are too early to give any guidance on volume.
So one should assume that for virtually 1 year, there won't be any products to be launched from this new platform in the European market, or commercially sold, I should say, from this new product.
Now, sales will happen in almost like in 2 quarters. But the volume to quote on in terms of impact for top line and bottom line is still 1 year away.
And what are the addresses?
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Sabrin.
Yes.
As if a follow-up question, I'll request you to come back.
Just let me complete this question and then I will step aside.
All right.
Sir, I just wanted to understand what are the addressable markets in Europe?
Generally European markets are about, I think it's little too early. Still, I will give you some clues on what kind of an idea we are bringing in. The average horsepower in Europe, like Germany, what we are talking about is something like 125 horsepower, 150 and 200. This is the range. The series what we'll be talking about is 50 to 75. This is what we talked about, the top end of Indian market. What we are developing, this will become the bottom of the pyramid of Europe. So this is a kind of a new category creation as an auxiliary tractor to otherwise a 150 horsepower tractor buyer. Okay, this is the kind of a segment targeted, and the rest of the details possibly we will unveil through a Indian press conference, something like 2 months. Maybe in December we will do that.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, a kind request to the participants. All are requested to please limit their questions to 2 per participant. Should you have more questions, kindly come back to the queue again. We'll take the next question from the line of Arjun Khanna from Principal Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Thank you, gentlemen, for taking my question. My first question is in terms of the geographical coverage of India. You did mention that there are some parts of India where market share is lower. What are we doing to address this, and do we really intend to go for those parts, or we are happy in the regions where we currently are?
Okay. The point is, there are a couple of things. First, we said our guidance, whatever is approved by our own committee, is profit first.
Sure.
And the profit goals are also, it's already sharing. It's in public domain. We said our goal is to reach up to 15% EBIT margins for the division. Okay. We are on that path. We already reached a very decent level. Whatever the target levels we have set for ourselves, year ending September, we have surpassed by almost by 0.2%. Okay. We are on this path. Having said that, without compromising that, it is a time for us to address all those issues. The most important markets where we are missing is South and West. This almost contributes to 30. South and West, when we are saying, it is like a Tamil Nadu, Andhra, Karnataka, Maharashtra and Gujarat. This contributes almost to 30% of the overall industry, and our market share is something like 4.5%.
Sure.
And this market also give an interesting opportunity of a higher horsepower tractor category, where generally MNCs do very well. The entire product planning, what we are trying to do, is to concentrate on those kind of a markets, what we call E+ kind of a markets. The products are ready, getting rolled out. This revival has come as a surprise, or rather 6 months earlier than our expectation. Okay, that is where, if I'm to say, we are just missing the bus by almost 6 months. So these products will get rolled out. We will do some actions in those kind of an area, but gently. Having said that, it may take at least 2 years for us to come to a pretty decent level. So that is our internal plan.
Just to take it forward, you did mention new launches, which is heartening to hear. In terms of market shares, do we have a kind of target to where we would like to be for the South and West region?
See, it's very difficult to say. But all that what I can tell you is we are almost at 4.5% today.
Sure.
Nationally, we are at 11.5% to 12%. So our goal is to reach the national level. But as having said that, actions are in place. Thinking is in place. Rather, actions will happen over a period of 1.5 to 2 years. Difficult to guess on what will happen in terms of market share actually. But we are getting ready.
So my second question is just to understand the industry. Are the retail volumes largely tracking the wholesale volumes for the industry?
No, but almost we should guess it so, because quarter after quarter people cannot do it, and there also we are just out of a recession, so people would have almost retailed it. Having said that, in September everybody would have pumped in lot of quantity. Depending their ability to hold the stocks, people would have produced more in the month of August and September, hoping for a very big season on this thing. So these adjustments may happen between the quarter. On an annualized basis, I feel that I think industry should be on a natural level. It should not be any artificially high level.
Sure. So finally, in terms of our capex, could you give us a guidance how we see that going forward?
See, the capex indications are more on new products and less on capacity expansion.
Sure.
If you want to share on quantity, you can do that.
The total capex that we've done in last 12 months is approximately 80 crores, and we have further 50 crores planned in next 6 months.
Sure. So we should largely be decreasing the amount of debt we hold?
Debt, yes, because further, if capex is there, some of the capex would be met by further debt. So on an average, you can assume debt would be probably 15-20 crores lower.
Sure. Thank you so much. It's been most helpful.
Thank you. We'll take the next question from the line of Raghu Nandan from Asian Market Securities. Please go ahead.
Thank you for taking my question, sir, and congratulations on a good set of results.
Thank you.
Sir, just wanted to understand how is the utilization levels across segments?
On the capacity?
Yes, sir.
Capacity utilization across all segments.
Yes, sir.
They remain in the range of 60 to 70%, which is what I think we mentioned last time also in the con call. So there's no major change in the volumes if you look at the trend. So it ranges in that range only, 65 to 70% across all.
So can you broadly indicate how is it segment-wise, if possible?
Segment-wise,
Tractor is 2/3.
Auto is 77%. Construction will be about
the tractor is 66%.
50 would be construction.
Construction is 50%, 77 for auto. For railways, 77 for railways also. So 77 for railway and auto products, 50% for construction, and 66% for agri, for tractor.
Agri is 77, I thought.
66%.
66, sir. Okay. Sir, and with reference to tractors, if I just look at last 4-5 general elections, usually the year coming to the general election sees an increase in the agri spending, and then the next year with the lag there is an improvement in the growth for tractors. So do you foresee, like a similar growth scenario for FY15 because of this upcoming election and increase in agri spending? I think this budget provides for like 18% increase in the agri spending for FY14. So do you expect any trickle down effects next year?
Yeah, I think in our own estimate, it is less to do with the elections and more to do with the monsoon. So I think this is how the past trends. If you do a cycle studies, whatever the trade cycle studies, whatever we have done, the dominant factors are that way. But it can have a gentle push, but I don't think that is anything substantial. Elections have got nothing to do with. See, all this has happened, I think, 2-3 elections back, where people used to wave up a lot of money. They put in a lot of money. Those kind of things used to be very different. But today, I don't think we will count on that. We are counting on more on in terms of, say, groundwater, water levels have moved up. Things look much better. Not only for this second half, it will be much better even for the whole of the year. So rather, we would like to bet on those kind of parameters.
And sir, like with reference to the like farm mechanization, so how is that area spanning out, sir? If you can throw some color as to what are the trends you are seeing there and how much government subsidy or push is helping out the overall industry.
See, farm mechanization for the tractors, subsidy is not major. It's just not there. We can say that. Very minimal. Here and there it is there, but it is not making any impact. As far as the tractors are concerned, our understanding is concerned, tractors are becoming bigger and bigger. But only thing what we see, some data you will see a blip because of the emission norms at 50 got introduced, so those things get reclassified as 49.5 horsepower and 49 horsepower and all this. The trends what we see is the bigger tractors, the demand will go up. With this kind of a recovery happening, here, things becoming little more prosperous, those kind of things will go up. And the other tractors which will emerge is the specialty tractors, special purpose tractors. These are all the areas which are on the very, very preliminary stage in India, but we expect a substantial growth over a period of 10 years. This is why there are actions around the Ferrari tractors and those kind of actions are taken. So these are all major patterns, but other than that, for a tractor, it's predictable actually. The next space is farm equipment space.
Thank you, sir. Just one last question.
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Nandan. Sir, for follow-up question, I'll request you to come back in the queue as we have several participants.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
We'll take the next question from the line of Prashant Ras from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, that's Nishant. So the first question on the market share and the volumes per se. If I'm doing an analysis on the segmental market share, we have lost close to 500 basis points in the fastest growing segment, that is the 41 to 50 horsepower segment. We were at around 16.5%, now we are around 11% in that. This is April to August that I'm quoting. Also, and we've gained in the slower segment, which actually degrown, that is the 31 to 40 horsepower segment. I want to understand that the industry is now at nearly 6 lakh. It is going to clock, say, 6 lakh for the financial year. And what would be the number that we are quoting for, say, when we move to March? What is it? Is 10% market share that we are going to go, or we're going to go slower than industry because we are losing market share in the fastest growing segment?
Okay, the way we should see the data is this 40 to 50 horsepower tractor is the general classification. If you do one more classification like 45 to 50 horsepower, this is little higher. I think our market shares are something like 23%. I think year before we are almost at 20% today. So there is a 2-3% drop in that kind of a market share because that is where we concentrate, and that is where what we call it as a E category and E plus category. Here the delay is one is from our side. This is predominantly it's about that farm track facelift, whatever we have planned to launch got delayed by almost 2 to 3 months. Largely we should attribute product delay from our side in terms of delay, that kind of a loss in market share. But going forward, all our actions are around this kind of a category only. Many products, facelifts, all around this kind of a category. Right this month it's happening, it's going to happen in future quarters. So that is not a matter of anxiety because that is where we wanted to grow. And that market and E plus category together is what we are targeting, something like a 30-33% over a period of another 3 to 4 years. This is a kind of an, what you call a segmental focus what we are talking about. This is what we said a premium category, making more money means this kind of an action. Now, the second category what we are talking about, the C category are 35 to 40 horsepower. What you will not see through the data is, for example, in the 35 to 40 category, half of our volume, what we call 439, comes on the high end of that category. We charge a premium price, almost like a 20,000 rupees over the standard products of those kind of a product. 50% of our volume comes through the high end of that category. Not only in the category of 35 to 40, also this is true for 30 to 35. That means even on the lower segment, the products what we sell are the most expensive products. This is the way things are. This is to tell you a positioning strategy and also to tell you the focus continue to be the profitability. So this we do through not only through pricing, first supporting through a right products and then pricing it right. Okay. Now, another major reason, as I said, is what we are losing in the last the last 6 months, if I am to say so. It's a major revival of Maharashtra, Andhra, and of late Gujarat and Karnataka in the last 2-3 months. These markets, as I said, contributes close to 30%, where our market shares are lower. So this combination of this kind of some of our segments as well as the markets are the reason. But having said that, our focus will remain on our own profitability, but we do get prepared for actions for this kind of market, but it's a 2-year story. It may not happen immediately actually.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, coming on to profitability, actually, I have a second question on this, and this is directed to Mr. Madan. Sir, I was doing an analysis for last 6 years. It is kind of a bit odd to see that the average interest cost that we have in the company is since last 6 years averaged around 19%. Even this year we have ended at, if I am dividing what I'm dividing is average interest cost divided by the debt at the end of the year or the average debt. The average debt is around 19%. When I look at the annual report, around 30 to 35% of that finance cost is coming from bank finance charges and a line item called others. So, sir, I just want a clear overview as to why are we paying so much, or the average cost is so high, while the market, even if you are opening a working capital financing, could be not more than 15%.
Well, Nishant, there are 2-3 reasons. One, when you look at the finance cost on the balance sheet, it's not only the interest which is there. There are bank charges also which we classify as a finance cost.
Correct.
So if you include bank charges, which is more related to the operation side, whether it's on cash management side, on the payment side, which itself is about 14-15 crores rupees. Now, besides that, there are other cases like we got deposits from the dealers on which we pay interest. There are other cases where we pay per interest to vendors for some cases. So it's not only pure borrowing which you look at. If you look at the interest-bearing liability on the balance sheet, they remain between 500 to 600 crores.
So that is what I'm asking. But at the end of the day, it is affecting the profitability. When I look at the last year's annual report,
this operation, we will take deposit from the dealers in the normal course, and they are we pay lesser amount on interest on that. But if you look at the other side of this, there's the other income, which is basically the arbitrage which we make. So instead of paying higher interest costs, we're making more money on the arbitrage there, whether it's to the dealer funding, channel finance, or other routes. So there's an increase in the other income if you look at in this quarter as well as for the year, significantly.
So basically, would you be saying that this high level of, say, whatever, this might be a working capital thing, is it across the industry phenomena, or maybe, say, other competitors would also be doing the same thing?
The other competition, I can't say because they have huge cash on the balance sheet, which we don't have, unfortunately. So as of now, yes, our average cost of borrowing remains 12 to 13%. So what you see on the balance sheet, 16%, like you said, is including all those bank charges and other factors. So if you exclude that, so net borrowing cost on the debt will be about 12 to 13%.
Okay. So, sir, if I can take a small last question. Sir, in terms of your SOS on the balance sheet, the outstanding, sir, how much is the actual ESOPs in that portion? It shows 3.1 crore shares as per end of balance FY12.
About 33 lakh shares are there under ESOP.
Under ESOP. And when are they, is it systematically going out? What is the time frame?
There's a lot of schemes which are floated. So based on the schemes they are given, they are forfeited. So it's an ongoing process. So there's a number of shares remain in the trust.
Okay. Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. We have the next question from the line of Riken Gopani from Infina Finance. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, sir. Congratulations for a good result. Sir, I just wanted to understand one thing is on the pricing side, what kind of price hikes have we taken on the tractor side over the last 6 months, and any plans of any price hikes going forward?
In the last full year, we had taken about 3% price increase. So in the last quarter, we have not done any price increase now. But in the full year, we had taken about 3%.
Last September also we have done.
So, this 3% would include the hike you've taken in September, is it?
Yeah, the last September.
September last year. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. That was about 2%, 1.5%.
Okay. And is there a, given the increase in cost, maybe because of currency, is there a need for you to take any further price hikes right now to, or just highlight on that?
See, it depends on the product portfolio. Now, where we are selling the imported products, there we are taking the calls on price increases. But normally, at a company level, if you look at our import content is very, very low. I think it's about 1% only on the total material consumption. So really on inflation side, really on the exchange, because of exchange, many significant price increases won't be there. So it's not really affecting the material cost to that extent. But where we are doing the trading like tractors like Ferrari or in construction equipment side, so there also we are taking the increases as and when the exchange rate situation goes up or goes down.
Okay. Because even the landed cost of various raw materials that we might be consuming in maybe INR, they might have got increased because they might be linked to global prices and the rupee. So will, say for example, steel cost, all those costs haven't increased for you because of the currency?
In the last 1 year, we're not seeing the pressure really on the inflation side, but yes, going forward, we are getting some indications from the industry, from the suppliers to that extent. So we'll see the impact at least in the next 6 months. We don't see any significant increases, but yes, to some extent, some inflation will happen.
Okay. And to that extent, would that be correct that you would then pass it on to the customer?
Yeah, that's right.
The market is tight.
Yeah, that's right. We'll go with the industry on that, definitely.
You will go with the industry on that. Okay. The other question that I had is just in terms of a clarification, since I'm not aware about this on the balance sheet side, there is an investment which is lying, I think that is the shares of Escorts itself. Just wanted to understand the strategic reason of the same and what's the plan for that?
See, these are the trading stocks, I think, which we discussed in the last con call also. So, which company is holding? So, as a beneficiary, Escorts is the sole beneficiary for that trust, the shares which are held there. So, we'll take a call on those shares as and when we feel there is a need of selling them off or if the money requirement is there on the company side. But as of now, we don't see anything happening at least in the next 1.5 years.
Okay, so no plans on that side, right?
No plans as of now.
Okay. And just wanted to re-emphasize on the volume outlook. Mr. Sridhar mentioned that the overall volume growth for FY14 should be in the range of 8 to 10%. Is that correct?
No, the first half, this quarter and the next quarter, we should look forward to something like a 13 to 14% growth.
Okay.
And the second half should be around 8%, 9% types.
Okay, which means the March and the June quarter of this year, extended year, should be a more than say 7 to 8%, whereas the Diwali quarter could be around 14% kind of growth for you.
Correct.
Okay. All right, sir. Thanks.
Thank you. We'll take the next question from the line of Ashish Agarwal from Almonds Global. Please go ahead.
This is Sundar Subramani here. Good afternoon, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. Two questions from my side. One is that on a sequential basis, the EBIT margins of the agri-machinery division are slightly under pressure. What's the key reason?
See, essentially volumes. So the Q3 was a peak volume month. If you look at the industry trend also, the industry is almost 30-32% of the volume in that quarter.
Okay.
And obviously the volumes are high, then the margins improve.
Okay.
So, and we did about 19,000, 20,000 volumes in that quarter. Against where that we had done about 14.5 in this quarter.
Okay.
So obviously the margins have come down because of that.
Okay. So we are planning new product launches. How will that impact the overall margins?
We'll be able to maintain the margins.
Okay. My second question is on the capital employed. The segment capital employed, the others unallocated capital employed is close to 800 crores. Can I have a breakup of that?
Just a second, we are putting that data together.
Sure, sir.
Investment and
We'll come back. Okay, we need to come back to you on that question.
we'll send you the breakup. You can give your email ID. We'll have it sent to you.
Sure, sir. Thanks so much. That's it from my side.
Thank you. We'll take the next question from the line of Amyn Pirani from Deutsche Bank. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, sir. Thanks for taking my question. Maybe you've answered this before, but I just wanted to get a sense of, we've been obviously hearing that rural cash flows are quite strong this year because of the good monsoons and the MSP increases. Are you seeing that in your own experience that actually happening? I mean, is there a significant improvement in the cash flows in rural India, and hence there could be a sustained demand for tractors and other agricultural implements?
Yeah, answer is yes. That's why we are talking about an industry growth rate of 13-14% for 6 months and subsequently 8%, 9% types.
Okay. And that has, I mean, you're already seeing that, or is that expected to happen in the next 2 weeks in terms of the rural cash flows becoming stronger?
See, this year, speaking based on the quarter 3 last, the April to June experience,
okay,
and July, August, September monsoon.
Okay.
This together gives us a feeling that this is what should happen. Currently, the going is good in the whole of India, excepting few belts where there is excess rain. This is delaying the crop.
Right.
And those areas also, when it joins, I think overall conditions should be on the expected lines. That it should not be a surprise.
Okay. So, and just one housekeeping question. This quarter, your other expenses were significantly higher than the trend, and in terms of growth as well as percentage to sales. Any particular reason why that would have happened?
Yeah, there's some higher spends done on the repair and maintenance side. This is some increase in the fuel cost, so the rates have increased, so the manufacturing cost on that account has gone up.
Okay.
And third, obviously, on account of promotion, so this spending which we had done in this quarter, which is higher than what we did in the last quarter and the year before.
Okay.
And fourth is obviously the volume impact. If you compare with the last quarter corresponding numbers, where the volume increase, whatever variable costs are linked to that,
right,
so that has also gone up. So in terms of percentage increase is more on account of the extra spending we did on repairs, power and advertisement.
Okay, and so this would sustain at these levels, or you can expect some improvement?
No, they will rationalize. So they'll get a line average of the last quarter and this quarter, basically, about 11 to 11.5% levels.
Okay. Thanks for taking my question.
Thank you. We'll take the next question from the line of Nishit Jalan from Nomura. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Thank you for taking my question. Most of my questions have been answered. Just one thing. When you mentioned 13 to 14% growth, which period exactly are you do you mean? Do you mean next calendar year or what?
October to March.
October to March period. And what are the kind of inventory levels which you had by the end of September quarter?
See, I think our inventory 30 days.
See, our own inventory levels were to the tune of about 3 weeks, and the dealer's inventory would be about 45 days.
That's a normal level of inventory.
That's a normal level. But this time, inventory level, like I said, in our case, it has slightly gone up because of the season which was there in October. So we had to build up that inventory, but that will get rationalized. So we are normally working on 2 weeks inventory.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take the next question from the line of Chinmay from Drone Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, this is Pati Gandotra from Drone Capital. Part of my question has been answered, but I just wanted to ask it slightly differently. This is around the treasury stock. There's a new Companies Act which prohibits any more, treasury stock in companies. So will that affect your existing treasury stock? And so while you said that you'll raise it, you will sell it to raise capital whenever you need, but will you be forced into selling your treasury stock by the new Companies Act?
So the new Companies Act is silent on this aspect. They're not talking about the old existing treasury stock. They're only talking about the new treasury stocks will not be allowed to be created.
Okay.
So as of now, there is no provision in the Act which says you have to sell it off.
Okay.
So
and you expect it to remain so? I mean, I'm sure you would have had conversations with lawyers, etc.
Yeah, we had discussed that.
So there's no kind of a forced kind of requirement here, right? So we are...
As of now, there's nothing. So unless something new comes up in the rules, so we don't know.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll take the next question from the line of Mukesh Saraf from Spark Capital. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for taking my question. I just had one question primarily relating to the lower HP tractors. You've recently launched the Steel Track, I think, which is the sub-20 HP tractor. And I wanted to get your view on the overall industry for this lower HP tractors, because you have been mentioning that the industry will move more towards the higher HP tractors. But since you have also launched a product, could you give us some sense on this less than 20 HP or around the 20 HP tractors and the demand drivers for this segment?
See, I think the size of this kind of industry is close to something like 1,500 per month. And this is what happens actually. The dominant player in this category is Mahindra. And they have a Yuvraj brand which may be selling around 1,200 number types. And the rest is from various players. See, there are selected packets, there is a demand for a row crop area, and those kind of customers need this kind of tractors. We call it this is also part of a specialty tractor. So this is a completely an outsourced activity. We only help that dealer channel and assistance in terms of doing that. The specifications, and we help them in identifying customer segments, specifications, and then giving the backup service. Financially, it does not make a great sense for our company, but we wanted to have that kind of a complete solutions to the customer. That is why we organized this. Having said that, whatever we launched last month, customer reception is very good. To that extent, I think customers and dealers will be very happy. Does not make much sense for Escorts.
Okay, but in general, do you see, demand more in the south or in the north, or what kind of belts, where do you see the demand for this type of tractors?
Predominantly west, Maharashtra, Gujarat.
Okay. And any sense on what could be the growth rates in this segment? Could it be significantly high because the base is really small and the penetration now would increase? Because I think a lot of other players also have entered this segment in the recent past.
No, this is like another repetition of a Nano. A lot of expectation. Actually, the deliveries were very, very limited. I think 3 years back, the first tractor got launched. Now also the overall size is less than 10,000, 12,000 types. So far there is not much significant activity here. Having said that, the challenge in this kind of a segment it is not a profitable segment.
Okay.
So with that in mind, even if it grows at 20-25%, it may not make much sense for a company like Escorts, where our clear strategy is to move on a very profitable segment and a very different manner. Okay, this is an approach. So even if it grows, we will only watch. But what will emerge? The specialty as a tractors will emerge. For example, the Ferrari what we are talking about, it's something like a 8 lakh a tractor. Where is 2.5 lakhs, 2.25 lakhs, and where is 8 lakhs?
Okay.
That's also a 25 horsepower. So Escorts will put the entire might behind the creation of category around those kind of tractors, not into small tractors.
Sure, sir. Thanks a lot for answering the question.
Thank you. We'll take the next question from the line of Kaushik Poddar from KB Capital Markets. Please go ahead.
I think in the last con call you had talked about rationalizing your factory instead of 3 places, 2 places or something. So can you give us an update on that?
I think action plan is on. It's a 3-year goal. I think we are on the way. I think maybe by significant actions will start happening maybe by March next year. In 6 months, I think first significant milestone we will achieve. But having said that, it is a 3-year action.
Okay. And what is the end? I mean, will that result in your overhead coming down, or and you can sell off some land or something of that sort? I mean, what is the end game for that, for this rationalization?
We should see it in 2 ways. It is not about integrating the plants alone. It's also about outsourcing. Otherwise, we have been a capital-intensive company. We have been investing a lot of money in expanding the production capacity, which we have totally stopped. The money what we spend maybe 1 or 2 crore types, not 50 or 100 crores what would have done it in the past. So outsourcing is the obsession. So initially the integration is also being put in, and whatever little money relieved out of the system is also what is used for outsourcing those kind of activities. Okay. So when we move into 1 lakh, 1.2 lakh capacity without major investments, this is the basis. So it should be seen as a lean manufacturing objective, not only seen as integration of 3 plants. So a lot of things are hidden on this. The second question, what's the second question?
That's about the use of the surplus land.
Use of the land. That will come back. There are a lot of business ideas are emerging. So as and when we free up our space and the business ideas are also there, at that point of time we will take an appropriate call. Maybe it is little too early to discuss in public.
Now, this rationalization is part of that your game plan for getting their OPM to 15%? Is it part of that, or that 15% OPM happens without this rationalization?
A marginal effect. I will not count on it. I think I will count more on brand strategy, and see, your power of pricing is much more than your cleaning up act. With that, you can, at best, we can save 1% or 2%. But where we will be betting significantly is our ability to charge more from the customer.
Okay. And then my last question on this 15%, when your end point of 15% in volume terms, it will be how much? Some 80,000-90,000 tractors annually, or?
Okay. See, the point is very difficult to see. I cannot put all those numbers and then give. But all that what I'm telling you is the financial goal side. I think we are already into that firm path. We are almost at 11% type, 10.2 or 11.
Right.
After 2 quarters we are there. So we are on that path. Maybe this year and 1 more financial year we are almost reached there. But having said that, the secondary objective of dominating the profitable segments will become an objective. So we will, what becomes a secondary objective over a period of time will become a primary objective. But this I'm just sharing with you the principle. Difficult to put a number on it. But the way industry will grow, this 80,000-90,000, it's a matter of happening. It should happen far quicker than our expectation. But I don't want to put a number upfront.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Participants, due to time constraint, we'll take the last question from the line of Basudev Banerjee from Quant Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for taking my question. Carrying forward the aspect which we are just now discussing. If we see volume in FY11 was around 65,000 and volume in September this year is around 66,000. So in last 2 years, volume has gone nowhere. But if we see the EBIT per unit has moved up from somewhere around 28,000 to present levels of 55,000. That has almost doubled. So what has been the reason you will assign primarily behind this improvement in margin with volume remaining the same? And what are the drivers you see going ahead from these levels?
Okay, I think I'll just repeat it because we have been sharing this and then we are consistently doing it. Whichever is a non-profitable segment and the products, like A category, some model like Escorts 335, all those models which were contributing close to 2,000, 2,500 kind of a model, first we stopped it. We cleaned up from the system. At the cost of volume and market share, first we said we were shedding those kind of a model, number one. Second one is, we have chosen the segments where we will participate and then we will start leading it. That is where we said E and E plus category, that is 45 horsepower, 50 horsepower and above. These are all the segments which give you good profit margin. The margin, when we say good, it is between the lower category, B category, and this category. The margin difference could be as high as it's double. If I have to tell you like an industry parameter, it can even be double. So those kind of a category is what we have targeted. The third action is even in B and C category, the way I was explaining, it is not 30 to 40. If you look at it, 35 to 40 horsepower, whatever we are doing, 50% of our volume comes at the highest slab of pricing, what we call DS plus as a model, whatever we have launched. Our products are priced very high. So the 50% of the volume does not come on the mean level or at the lower level. This comes at the highest pricing level. So these are all the actions what we have done predominantly. Besides, there are a lot of cost-cutting measures. Reduce incentives, waste, elimination of very many area offices, 250 positions of officers we have shed. There are a lot of things have happened. So something to do with cost control and also to increase the pricing power, chosen segment domination, stopping those kind of a products which does not add value to the system. Broadly, these are all the actions we have taken which has moved us this far.
Sure. And sir, what kind of similar actions are you planning to take in the construction equipment division? Any quantification of any break-even revenue per quarter? Because despite a decent set of revenues of 120 crore kind of, continuously we are seeing negative EBIT for past several quarters.
You would see from the last quarter, every quarter you are seeing a reduced costs, and you are also seeing improved EBITDAs. Though they are still in the negative situation, you will see a significant thing. We expect the volumes be whatever it is. We have brought in a break-even volume levels to significantly down. At the EBITDA level, earlier if someone is talking about 330, 340 units, we are now talking about 250, 240 units. And in addition to that, couple of things what we have executed is increasing the price impact. In addition to the cost optimization internally, these two added to EBITDA levels to this level, and we expect EBITDAs to be positive as we move forward in this quarter.
Sure. And last question, sir, in the balance sheet, we can see there's a line item called long-term provision, which has come down by somewhere around 60 crore on a year-on-year basis. So can you describe that?
The escrow, we had a provision for escrow FD of 65 crores, which we've netted off from the escrow amount. So that's why other provisions are decreasing. But you would say investments, if you refer to investments also, that is also decreasing other investments, other current assets.
Okay. Thanks. That's all from my side.
Thank you. I now hand over the conference to Mr. Rajiv Das for closing comments. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, thank you for sparing your time and being present at this conference call today. Diwali seasons and greetings from everybody from Escorts, and we'll catch you later in our quarter 5 when we hold the call in January. Once again, thank you very much, and we look forward to connecting again in 2014.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Escorts Limited, that concludes this conference call. Thank you for joining us. You may now disconnect your lines.